as well. So the homework as we go live into Facebook and as we go live into A of A, this is our beautiful, and I hope we're not frozen. It feels like we are. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes, you can. That's good. So, one of the things about what's happening right now is very interesting, is that contractive, expansive feeling that we were talking about with just Kiala right now. And then we were also talking earlier, we're on a B² call for everyone who is watching us in Agents of Awakening, or anyone who's watching us also in on Facebook. We're doing the homework for B² right now. The physical body is a conduit. It's a conduit, and it will never lie to you. So sometimes, even when, and I want to talk about a concept in law of attraction right now. The concept in law of attraction is this concept of something that I've heard a lot of people talk about. It either feels good or it feels bad. So just breathe for a second. Everybody breathe. Sometimes that which you think you judge as good or bad put you in a mental space instead of a heart space, a feeling space. Because feeling good or bad may not be the best way to language the way you approach life in order to stay in flow. This is one of the mechanisms, or one of the exercises one can do to sort of check out whether you're in flow or not. And I've heard people say, well, look and see if what you're doing feels good or feels bad. But you're going to be late with your taxes and pay $10,000 in interest. Man, if you make that much money, I just want you to know, well done you. But you're going to pay $10,000 in interest, right? You might say to yourself, well, doing my taxes feels bad though. Well, not as bad as paying $10,000 in interest, And the point is not that. It might be in the highest for you not to do your taxes. As I've said to Jeannie many times, Jeannie, that is what accountants do. But I can't give them a mess of receipts and it can't look this way. Yes, it can. I was that accountant. People used to hand me bags, like garbage bags full of receipts. And I used to do the whole thing and deliver them their tax return when I was an accountant. I used to do that. And people were so happy. So sometimes I really want to come home to, this isn't about feeling good or bad. This is about feeling expansive or contractive. What feels expansive is getting your taxes done, right? It feels expansive to think about getting your taxes done. What music you play while you're doing your taxes probably feels expansive too. It might even open up the possibility, if you're going to make the tax playlist, the literally doing my taxes playlist, since it's kind of that time of year. Making that playlist might put you at the frequency of the person who wants to exchange for what you do for a living for their bookkeeping services. Because you're doing what feels expansive. If doing your taxes doesn't feel good, then feel expansive in your cells, like expansive, like you want to lean into it. Making a playlist. Adam and I'm not even kidding you, I'm going to show it to you right now. Adam and I last night, where is it? Made a playlist. Oh, there it is. There we go. Adam showed me all of his favorite, bands. Tool and Matchbox 20 and Joe Jackson and, Ben Folds and all of this really eclectic mix of all sorts of really funky people. And I'm like, oh, I am totally making him that playlist. I'm going to make a playlist of all the cool music, because that's what we pay that's what we play when we're getting all of our receipts and all this stuff and, et cetera, et cetera. Expansive, contractive. Just a little shift on the idea of feels good, feels bad. Because can you see that it would be easy to say that talking about taxes just feels bad? Therefore, I'm not going to focus any attention on it. It's a judgmental word. It feels good, it feels bad. Can you see that? It's too easy to judge what you're doing. It feels bad to talk to my mother. She always criticizes me. But it might feel expansive to talk to your mother because something is presenting. I have no idea. Maybe she'll tell you you inherited the $10,000 that you owe in interest on your taxes. I don't know. Right? But if you follow the physical feeling that results from literally just showing up for what presents, not thinking about it, showing up for it, physically showing up, because it's a physical feeling, expansive, contractive. Expansive, you'll know because you can breathe deeper. Contractive, you'll know because you'll actually watch you'll actually watch your body go away from the thing that you're in front of or thinking about. You'll shrink. So the homework is about, as you go about your life, I'm going to pick 3 subjects. One is going to be around food. Okay. The first one is around food. When you're eating what you're eating, because food is a little bit easier to do than taxes. When you're picking up food from your fridge, just look and see what your body feels like. It's kind of a form of kinesiology. You're letting your body actually tell you, are you feeling like more breath when you pick up that apple? And you might say, well, every time I pick up chocolate, I feel good. No, sometimes when you pick up chocolate, you contract. Usually when you're picking up chocolate to compensate for, you're picking up chocolate you're solving an emotional issue with a physical substance. Solving an emotional issue with a physical substance is no way to solve an emotional issue. If you really want to have an amazing life, it's going to require that you solve emotional issues with emotional related things that address. Okay. So we're going to use it with food, expansive, contractive, we're playing a game, right? This is the expansion experiment, which, by the way, for those of you who've never done our once a month B squared call, which happens on Agents of Awakening, this is the homework. The homework is all about that. It's all about food first. The second thing is conversations. Okay. When you're having conversations, we want perfect, divine, cosmic timing, which will always feel like it's time to phone Frank. I got to phone Frank. It's time to phone Frank. Because Frank just went through your mind. It's like, oh, I can feel, I do this all that constantly. Tonight, I know what's going to happen. It's going to be time to phone Stephanie. And I'm just going to pick up the phone. I'm going to phone Stephanie. I know it. I can feel it already. It's like, oh, I get to talk to Stephanie tonight. Because it still feels expansive since last night. Your 75 trillion cells will never lie about they are the most amazing conduits for consciousness. And they will never lie to you about what's in the highest right now. So conversations, timing of conversations and what to say in conversations, you're gonna let your body actually feel into that. Okay. Third is what you're gonna work on. Okay, so the project you're gonna work on from hour to hour, you're gonna check in. It's like, so every hour you're just gonna check in. Continue with this, stop this, and move on to something else. Continue with this, or go out for a walk for 15 minutes. Continue with this. You're going to just check. You're going to get attuned to, because eventually you won't have to do this anymore. It will become so innate to your body. And the reason I talk about this is because I used to teach applied kinesiology, right? I used to teach applied kinesiology. And from teaching applied kinesiology, which is all about contraction and expansion would make the body stronger, and contraction would shut off the blood flow, right? And so it would make the body weaker, and you can actually test that. So when I used to teach that, I got so much practice on thousands of people. People say, "Oh, Jennifer, you're so intuitive." I'm like, by the time I finished teaching it for years to thousands of people, you could literally see it on someone. It's immediate. It shows up in their facial expression, in just a slight move of the shoulder, and you just pick up on these nuances in people, in their voice, etc., etc. And it's really good to get practice at this. It's just so productive and effective. Can you guys feel that to be true? Yeah. So there is something there's one part of today, I think are we on day 8? So day 8 of the 12 days of getting unstuck. So this all has to do with calling it law of attraction, like 11.0 instead of 2.0. I mean, we're so far from the movie The Secret at this point, but I really wanted to drive home how different manifesting is than what I hear is often being taught out there. So I'm going to say something revolutionary. You manifest everything. You never are not manifesting. People say, how do you manifest stuff? I don't know. Everything that you have right now, everything that you experience is a manifestation. That actually is how human beings are made. We're creators. So everything that you have, that guy walked up to your door that you haven't heard of for 3 years, or that, I just got 2 clients who called me out of the blue from 18 years ago and said, Jennifer, I want to do some work. And it's like a perfect match. I don't know where they went for 18 years, but here they are. You're constantly manifesting. You cannot not manifest. So then one might think, well, doesn't it have to do with intention? Yes. And it has very little to do with your mental intention. So you know how we intend and we do vision boards and we do all those things. They're beautiful things to do. I am not making them wrong. I love vision boards. They're fantastic. To the degree that your vision board actually lines up with the intention that you are, the intention that you act like, the intention that you take action on, the forward movement of your life based on what you actually do, and the spirit, and even more so, the spirit in which you do it, it so far transcends, supersedes, and overrides what you mentally intend. You can't even, it's like 1,000 to 1. Like a mental intention is overridden by your action and the spirit in which you do the action by such a powerful ratio Does this make sense to you guys? Like, are you picking up what I'm putting down here? The spirit with which you do something. So for instance, let's say I have a vision tonight that I want 3,000 people on this Facebook Live. You with me? And I'm like, I put it on a vision board. I put a sticky on my car. I fly a plane through the air with go here. You know, I'm trying to make these mental intentions like mad crazy. Okay. But consciousness is like, well, 3,000 people wouldn't actually serve, because where you're your best, Jennifer, is when you have intimacy, is where you can connect with people, is where you can actually see a face and call on them. It's where it's like, maybe there's a million reasons that the consciousness has for not having 3,000 people. And so instead, I always assume that we have the perfect people. Right? Always. Of course, how can I not have the perfect people? I mean, we're all here. Well, of course, we have the perfect people. Hello. The perfect people for where I'm at. The perfect people for where you're at too, by the way. You made the cosmic phone call and you manifested all these people. You didn't even know that you made the cosmic phone call. You made the cosmic phone call not with your intent mentally. You made the cosmic phone call with the intention that you are. Because what overrides everything I do is about how do we build a bridge? How do we demonstrate to people how powerful they actually are? Hence the homework. The homework came from, the intention that I am. It's like, okay, practical, applied. You see what I'm saying? Everyone who's here right now is the result of the intention that I am, not the intention that I have. And sometimes it just so happens that the intention that I have matches the intention that I am. And when the two match, yay, hallelujah. And I don't give my power away to intentions that I have, because sometimes all that does is ends in upset, because the intention turns into an expectation or an attachment. Do you get the distinction? The best way that I exemplify this is always through, one of the probably first 4 or 5 get outs that we ever had, where a woman came in on the second day of get out, when it was 2 days. Oh, actually it was 5 days at that point. And she came in and she had a vision board. She goes, Jennifer, it's what you talked about yesterday. Oh my God. Look out in the parking lot. I have a red Ford. I'm advertising at red Ford F-150s. I never had a Ford in my life. But anyways, I have a red Ford F-150 and it was on my vision board. And she goes, he just found it after 3 years of not, I even manifested finding the vision board. My son found it for me. And I said, well, what if I manifested you finding the vision board? And she said, what do you mean? I said, can I have a conversation with you, a kind of evolutionary, about how magnetics actually work? She said, sure. I want you, basically what she was saying is, I want you to tell me how amazing I am that I manifested this thing. And I'm like, you are amazing. You're totally amazing, but you're much more amazing than you think you are. She goes, how so? I said, you actually had your higher levels, your greater consciousness already knew that you were on the trajectory of getting that truck that you wanted when you were doing the vision board. And what they did is they put in front of you a magazine that had the perfect truck that they already knew you were going to get. And you manifested that magazine with the picture. And you cut out the picture, put it on your vision board so you could bring it to class now, so I could tell you how powerful we all are. And you're so good that this isn't about the F-150. This is about how manifestation actually happens. And I get to have an evolutionary conversation with you, because that's the intention that I am, to actually have us stop giving our power away to law of attraction and actually have us realize that we're never not manifesting. And she just sat there and she's like, whoa, like, what? Right. And honestly, I'm going to share this with them, just being vulnerable here. I didn't know what was going to come out of my mouth, but I knew when she was talking about that vision board, something was off. That wasn't how it happened. I had never said that ever before, ever. Like that was never an awareness that I had had about manifestation, which is probably why I rarely talked about it, because I'm like, something's off about the way we perceive manifestation. And that was the first time that I actually got to see in consciousness, in the hologram, how it actually happens. We're never not mad. We are always held by greater wisdom. Always, never not. So that is how deeply the universe has your back. Much more deeply than you think it does. So my lovelies, I hope this is helpful today. I hope. And I can't wait for tomorrow, which is day 9. Stay tuned, because on Facebook, we're going to change the location. Okay, we're going to change the location on Facebook. We're actually going to go to facebook.com/wide awakening for our live class. So join us tomorrow there instead of the playground. Okay, because the topic we're talking about tomorrow is a little evolution on what we talked about today. And I hope this has been helpful today. So for everyone on A of A, stick around. On Facebook, I'm just letting you know that I love you, and we'll see you tomorrow on the /Wide Awakening page. One moment, please.